Growing up in the hood, becoming a basketball player, then a coach, and today serving as Brooklyn's PSAL High School Basketball Commissioner. This is a journey Ted Gustis describes in his new book called The Power in One Breath, a 12-step game plan to breathe life and revitalize, empower America's hoods. Commissioner Ted Gustis, nice to see you.
Hey, it's a pleasure, man. Good to see you again, as always.
Always. You always talk on the phone anyway, right? Yeah.
Yes.
All right, cool. All right, and the official release is next Thursday, the 11th, at an event called One Breath, Breathe Life. Also joining us are the event's fashion designer, Omar Llewellyn. Welcome, Omar.
And thanks for having me.
And also welcome Von Middleton, who's producing the entertainment. Quite a singer there, right?
Yes,
yeah,
yes,
I know.
sir.
The next moment, hopefully be singing at the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
You never know. All right.
hopefully.
Tell us about your book first, Ted.
Well, first of all, as you mentioned, in the title of the book is The Power in One Breath. And the reason why I name it One Breath, because it deals with the fact that we all come from one breath. And so the initial aspect of the book is it talks about us being as one breath. We breathe, the life was breathed into us from one breath. And as you know, breathing is a very important element in terms of us living.
Correct.
And I have what I call a 12-step game plan, and as you are familiar with 12 steps.
Let's go over some of those steps.
Well, the first one is honesty. You know, to become honest with yourself as a person. What are your challenges that you have? As you know, many of people in our communities, particularly in the hood, are addicted to certain type of behaviors and so forth. So
Correct. Also, to you gentlemen, how will these principles apply to your life, also into your activities as a fashion designer, as an entertainer?
Well, definitely for me, when I'm working on a project or an idea and I get anxious and I want it to be done now, a lot of times I have to just calm myself down and just take some deep breaths, and that I'm focused and I'm ready to go. Yeah.
And as a designer, you have to be patient. Right?
Oh, no, definitely. Actually, this guy, to tell you, when we meet up, I'm spinning 100 miles per minute. They're like, take a breath. Yeah. And it all just, comes to center and makes sense.
What is also some of the other concepts?
Well, the primary concept is that I use sports, entertainment, and fashion, because those are the areas that we most can find young people in the hood. And the reason why I call it America's Hood is because the bottom line is it is a product that has not been working. The behaviors in our communities, our schools, and so forth, we have to fix. So instead of just talking about it, we have to be about it. So in all the years that I've coached basketball for over 44 years, I used the sport to help breathe life into young people. So sports became a major part. That includes our coaches. One of the reasons why I became commissioner is because I wanted to be able to impact the coaches and help them become leaders, not just coach a game of basketball to win a game of basketball, but we're talking about winning a game of life. So what this book addresses, it addresses those things, and it actually have a game plan that allow us to revitalize our community.
So it's like almost like you break it down similar to a basketball game, correct?
Exactly, and we talk about team building and so forth. The challenge in the hood communities is a lot of times we don't have team building. One of the most powerful person in our communities now are the basketball coaches, the football coaches, coaches that can impact these young men and young ladies.
How does this apply to you also, especially in terms of friends? Because in terms of basketball, football, sometimes some people may come to you, similar to basketball, when we describe a term, sometimes they may be playing a zone, but it really looks like a man-to-man. Sometimes people may come as your friend, but really they're your enemy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, in that regard, I
and you have to be able to read that.
Yeah, and just knowing that, okay, this person, they play this type of position. Like, it doesn't make sense for me to do that also. Like, if you're good at that and this person's good at that and I'm good at what I do, we can come together as a team and collectively, put our skills together and pursue.
I've been blessed to be coached by a very, good person that helps with, like you said, the first step of being honest with yourself. When you're honest with yourself, you kind of make honest relationships with people based on who they are. So you don't really have to gauge anything because you know, okay, he's a good kid, but he steals, so he can't go past my door. or vice, so on and so on. But that doesn't mean count them out.
You have to develop that, hopefully.
And even better, what he told me to do is, 1, be coachable, and 2, be the best example, and then they'll follow.
Coach?
Yeah, I think as you can see, in the area of sports can relate to life. So these guys are in the area of music, entertainment, development and designs and development and products and so forth. And what I try to do and have done, so this is not a question that we think we have the formula to help our young men. We know it. I want to say that in my 44 years of coaching, I got over 37 coaches across the nation that came from under my program. These are young men that went on to become coaches. So they're breathing life into other young men as we speak. And this is going to be the way that I pushed it in terms of changing our communities and making sure that those communities get revitalized and empowered. We have a tendency of looking at sports as a major problem in our community. No, we are addicted to sports, we're addicted to music, we're addicted to fashion, but we need to draw on that.
And basically, sports and fashion are basically intertwined. I mean, especially the rappers, some of the entertainers, they are the leaders in fashion. Also, some of the athletes, especially Cam Newton. Everyone's been talking about these pants that he's wearing lately, right? You look at that.
Well, yeah, you see, and for instance, with Omar here, this is a young man from the community from the time he was 14 years old, and as long as I've known him, he's 30 years old now. He was creating things. But how do you take this energy? He create on the basketball court, as small as he is, he could dunk the ball, he can do all of those things, but his passion was the ability to create. And here this young man has been able to come up with clotheslines that actually allow for the body to be healthy and using technology
and to breathe also,
and so forth.
Because you have you also create your own athletic gear.
Yeah, well, our athletic wear, we're a team. Yes, it's one team, one breath. So, well, the whole point was I want to reflect a lot of what Coach is doing. So it had to be functional, because Coach is not about talking to you. He wants you to, he says one breath, we say breathe life.
For example, how do you put one breath into practice every day of your life?
Wow, that's an interesting question. Pretty much, just do it.
Excellent. Well, I mean, when you're designing, when you're formulating your concept, how do you put this into practice?
No, it's ironic. It's consciously breathing. Sometimes when I hit a milestone, I would call Coach, like, take a breath. He don't even know what I'm talking about. He just take a breath. Like, that's it. Oh, let's go.
The idea comes to you.
That easy.
Yeah, it's a conscious thing. You have to consciously breathe deeply in, and because when you're anxious and you're working on ideas, or if you're moving about with your life, your breath is short. So when you take that time to consciously breathe, there's a lot of benefits. You're focused.
And let me just say something to you. You got to understand, from a health standpoint, if you're stopped by a police officer on the street, and this is what I teach you, the first thing I tell them is to take that deep breath, right? Because you right now, as you know, as young black men and young black people, especially in the hood, if a cop car stops you, right away you're going into a fight or flight mode.
Correct.
Which brings off so much anxiety and so forth. So the first thing is to take that one breath as if you were shooting a free throw, and you're relaxing, regardless of all the spectators and fans yelling at you, that pressure situation. Well, you're in a pressure situation right now.
Right.
And what is happening to you, you take it from your stomach on out, and you relax. So when the police officer comes, he can sense that there's no aggravation. But on the other hand, we also teach the police officers that before you go to this car, because you're in the hood, you need to understand you need to take that one breath and begin to go there to breathe life into whoever's there. You're not there to beat them down, kill them. It's to breathe life into them. And they could feel that energy as well.
On the 11th, next Thursday, explain to us what's happening.
Well, on the 11th, what we have done is I'm releasing my book,
right.
But at the same time, it's not only about me, it's about what about all of these teachers.
If we could show that picture real quick also.
Yeah, teachers, police officers that work in the school system, nurses, administrators, guidance counselors. We are honoring them because these are people that work in the hood and that have breathed life over the course of the years that they've been there. So it's very important for us to recognize it. We get all the negative things going on. We need to recognize people that are doing those type of things.
All right. You know, real quick also, before we move on with our conversation, got to talk about the Super Bowl this week, right?
Oh.
That's all about one breath, right?
Yeah, it sure is.
Cam Newton represents the new hip-hop, he's a new hip-hop quarterback. And is this also an exchange of the color guard? Is this an official exchange, not only color-wise, but culture-wise? Because we had you know, black quarterbacks before. We had Doug Williams, you know, Michael Vick, yeah, all these guys, and also, but Doug Williams was the first to win the Super Bowl.
Yes.
And you know, so what do you think of this Cam Newton?
Well, first of all, I love to see people that have enthusiasm about what they do, and he demonstrates that.
Right.
He's no different than Joe Namath when he used to play back in the days,
That's right.
and Joe Namath was braggios. He did his thing and so forth.
And to me, he's the embodiment of Joe Namath, Jim Brown, Muhammad Ali, a little bit of all of them.
All those guys,
And
yes.
also, so I think this is, if he wins, it'll be an official color guard exchange.
That is great, yeah.
Coach, go ahead. Okay.
Yeah, well, actually, I wanted to talk about us partnershiping with leaders. And that's why we have leaders of the hardwood.
But next, you have Leadership of the Hardwood. You have your book next 11th, next Thursday. They're going to be promoting it. You're going to be selling it.
Right.
And then what's your website also?
Website is onebreathtour.com.
All right. And what do you have there?
I have a present for you, sir.
Oh, no, oh man, this is great. This is beautiful.
This shirt right
This shirt
here,
right
man.
here,
High
One
quality.
breath. All right, look at that.
Yes,
look at the
man.
back. Look at the front.
You're gonna appreciate it, man.
Oh man, I know.
Feels good on the
summertime.
skin.
Oh, especially in the summer, right? Hot, humid day in New York. Right? We got to go, Ted. But next Thursday,
Next Thursday is February the 11th.
right?
That's
One
right.
breath.